Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Krishna Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to assembled Vaishnav devotees, and all glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace GANGA PRASAD PRABHU. Like I was saying earlier, Prabhuji needs no introduction. He's one of our own, one of our senior devotees from the west coast of Africa. And without much to say, Prabhuji, we're going to put the verse on the screen and then you may begin.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Om Gyan Timirandaksya Jnana Salakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Radhanath Swami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pasasyai Desatarine Sri Chaitanya Nano Vistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Dakanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyaschai Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanambeyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanyan Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sadisi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayana Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Nara Uttamam Devin Sarasatim Vyasa Tatujaya Mudirayet Nasa Preya Swabradesu Nityam Bhavatam Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Nastiki. Hare Krishna. I'd like to formally welcome everybody present on the platform now and beg your permission and blessings that I can do this service with due diligence for my purification and for the benefit of the audience. Hare Krishna. We are taking our reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. Text number 3. Sakatam sevaya tasya kalena jara samgata Kristovatam prati bruyad batu pada anusmaram Sakatam sevaya tasya kalena jara samgata Kristovatam prati bruyad batu pada anusmaram Sakatam sevaya tasya kalena jara samgata Kristo vatam pati bruyad batu pada anusmaram. Word for word transliteration. Saha Udava Katam how Sevaya by such service Tasya his Kalena in course of time Jarasam invalidity Gata undergone Pristaha asked for Vatam message Pati Bruyat just to reply Batuhu of the Lord Pado is lotus feet Anus Maram remembering. Translation and explanation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Jaga Guru Prabhupada Jai. Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood. And in his old age, that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no such retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no satiation, and therefore there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement. But in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue because it is spiritual service and is not on the bodily plane. Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older, but the spirit is never old, and therefore on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane, and therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidul about Lord Krishna, he at once remembered his lotus, his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane. That is a sign of pure devotional service to the Lord. As will be explained later on, Lakshana Bhakti Yoga, Siya, etc., in Lord Kapila's instruction to his mother, Devahuti. Om Gyan Timirandaksya Janang Jana Salakaya Chaksrum Litam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nam Mukankaroti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Ya Kripato Mahamande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Ya Kripato Mahande Paramananda Madhava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nishwara. Hare Krishna. The subject matter of discussion today is of great significance to all of us who are practitioners of bhakti. And he elucidates the fact that doing devotional service is complying with Krishna's two-time instruction. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 34, Krishna had mentioned, and this is the only text in Bhagavad Gita that is repeated twice out of 700 texts that make up the complete Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 9, text 34, and in chapter 18, text 65, Krishna had mentioned this, saying, or engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisance to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me. This is the point of connection in this very text we are reading. Absorption in Krishna. Surely you will come to me. That's absorption is what ultimately links us to Krishna. And in 1865, Krishna mentioned same thing by saying, he repeated it, always engage your mind in thinking of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So what we are hearing about Uddhava and his exchange with Vidur is just this very text. The moment Uddhava was asked about the message of Krishna, he lost external consciousness. It's not that he lost consciousness. He became absorbed internally in Krishna. And this is what we should all aspire to achieve if diligently we execute devotional service. And Prabhupada had mentioned in Nectar of Insight that progress on this part is dependent on the attitude of the practitioner. Advancement is dependent on the attitude of the practitioner. So from the purport, we can see that Uddhava did not begin devotional service at a particular late time age. He served Krishna from his childhood. That's what we got in the previous purport. From his very birth, Uddhava was a natural devotee of Lord Krishna, or a Nitya Siddha, liberated soul, from childhood. And Prabhupada was mentioning in the end that same opportunity, our parents gave us same opportunity. So this is a clarion call for parents, because it says one should not become a father, one should not become a mother, one should not become a teacher if you cannot liberate your subjects. So the work of liberation starts from cradle until grave. So from childhood, we should offer these opportunities. In Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada in text chapter 3, text 21, Prabhupada said, such natural leaders, they owe great responsibility to their dependents. And for them to be able to oblige the dependents, they have to be conversant with the ethical and moral codes of the scripture. So it means that from childhood, we should offer the children the opportunity of advancement. In Uddhava's case, it was mentioned that he was so absorbed in serving Krishna. He is giving deity form of Krishna, is absorbed in worshiping and serving Krishna. And when the mother calls him for breakfast, he will prefer to continue the service than coming to take food. Many Sankirtan devotees, you can attest to this, that if you are really absorbed in preaching, you may tell them to keep prasadam for you in the temple so that you can replenish when you come back. But you find out that if the preaching has been very ecstatic and absorbing, when you come back, you would rather prefer to continue preaching than to sit down and relish prasad. It's a higher taste. So this is what Uddhava's situation is. But in this very text, Prabhupada is trying to make us understand that transcendental loving service to the Lord is not mundane. It is not in any way mundane. And Prabhupada gave us the breakdown that if it was mundane, as we are aging or we are growing old, then automatically our zeal, our enthusiasm will be dwindling. And he gave the example that in mundane world, people retire. But in spiritual devotional service, there's no retirement. Why? It is the activity of the soul. So what is the question of stopping? Sanatana Goswami was a good example. He took vow to circumambulate Govardhan Hill for a particular number of circles in a day. Even at old age, he was not giving up. It took the intervention of Mahaprabhu to regulate him. That yes, I know you have this resolve, but please, your physical body is not conducive for this Herculean undertaking. So he gave him a Govardhan Shila. He said, if you circumambulate this Govardhan Shila, it is the same thing as going on the whole Govardhan Parikram. Okay. But the lesson here is that devotional service, not only is it not eternally youthful, the practitioners also are eternally youthful. There was a documentary I watched sometime about Gyan, Vairagya, and Bhakti. Bhakti is the mother. She gave birth to Gyan and Vairagya. And Gyan and Vairagya, they've become very old and dilapidated. So Narad was asking, what is the issue? Why is it that you, their mother, who is supposed to be older than them, is still very youthful, and your children have become old and almost invalid? And the answer is that Bhakti is eternally youthful, and the practitioners also never age. So in the word of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he mentioned that even though years passed, Kale, he did not age. Uddhava did not age, even though years passed, being under the influence of the service of Krishna. So service of Krishna, because Krishna is Navayovena, eternally youthful. His service is also eternally youthful. The participants in the service also are eternally youthful. So it's mentioned in the 10th canto that all the citizens of Dwarka, even though they were living in their homes, they were aging, but they were still looking very energetic, vibrant, and youthful. Why? They were always catching the glimpse of Krishna's darshan, which is also part of devotion. So Uddhava didn't age. And so, as Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned, under the influence of the service performed at the proper time, he did not age. So the concept of body dwindling, yes, it is natural because the body passes through 6 transformations. It is born at a particular time, it stays for a while, it produces offspring or byproducts, it dwindles, and then it vanishes. It's born, it grows, it produces its type, it dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the nature of the body. But the soul does not at any time dwindle. So it's unborn, ever existing. It is not dampened, it's not moistured. So devotional service, which is the activity of the soul also, is always youthful. Yesterday, I think one of the questionnaires in the class was mentioning that Uddhava have to take the body of a grass in Vrindavan. Okay? Well, that is because he has to become incognito. It's not everybody who can see him unless you have that high level of devotion. But he's there. He's always there. There's no time he's not there. So the purport Prabhupada is giving us here, buttressing what Srila Vishwanath Thakur have said, that Uddhava never became influenced by age. The word Kale should not be taken to mean with time. It was not influenced by time. It was always there. Since that word means that Uddhava was influenced by time, it will contradict the statement Tatra Praya Yaso Api Asan Yuvana Ti Balo Jasa Bala. Even the most elderly inhabitants of the city appeared youthful, full of strength and vitality. That is the inhabitants of Dwarka. Even though they've aged, they still remain full of strength, youthful, and with vitality. So, and you can see, Sivadhanacharya was mentioning yesterday, this is part of what we should learn from Uddhava, that we stick to obeying the instructions of Krishna or engaging in the service of Krishna. And that was what Uddhava did. Continuing that service, he didn't give up. He didn't feel like retiring. He continued, and Krishna have to send him to Naranarayan Rishi in the Himalayas, en route where he met Vidura. So we who are practitioners should also borrow a leaf from this, that even though we think we are physically aging in our body, as long as the taste for devotion has been enhanced, ruchi, we will always want to do. Prabhupada said, there's nothing like retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in a physical body, he's allowed retirement. But in transcendental service, there is no feeling, thinking, feeling, and willing. It does not exist. You don't want to stop. It is only what you are satiated with, or something that has become a botheration or distasteful, that you want to give up. But devotional service is said to be Kevala Ananda Kam, always increasing blissful mood. The more you do, the more you enjoy it, the more you are happy. It's like when I was made to retire from my regular service, the owner of the company is a known friend, even before we contracted employer and employee relationship. But somehow, at some point, he told me I should retire on age grounds. I have just reached the age of retirement, but I was made to retire 8 years ago. So when I met the wife, I was just catching joke with her. I said, your husband told me to retire when I'm not tired. You know, we laughed it off. But that is the spiritual mood. We are never tired. Look at the sages of Nemi Saranya. They told Sutta Goswami, we are never tired. I see that, I picked that humorously, that is one place where broken English was spoken in Bhagavatam. We are never tired, or we never tire of hearing. So devotional service is not a tiresome thing. It does not have fatigue. It is ever blissful, and it is what one wants to continue to participate in lifetime after lifetime. So that is why Vairagya will get old. Gyan also gets old. But they are children of Bhakti. And Bhakti is always useful. They are youthful. They are modern. So Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane. And therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about Lord Krishna. He at once remembered his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane. So devotional service is such that it takes us above all mundane designations, bodily conceptions, and then even other bodily affiliations. We become absorbed only in Krishna's name. And people will be wondering, why is it that you are doing this and you are not getting satiated? You are not wanting to give it up. Just like sometimes we say, our children sometimes, they think we are economic failures or we are materially not very flamboyant as we should be because of our absorption in devotional service. But it is because of this taste, it's because of this relish that we did not give extracurricular attention to other things. And we are still enjoying it, we are not giving up. They are saying we are material failures, but we can only sympathize that, yes, I may not be able to give you $1 million or $1,000 when you want it, but this devotional service, I'm enjoying it. And nothing can take me away from it. They will not culture that because their measurement is in terms of material success. Spiritual success is not quantifiable because it's the service of the soul. And that's why Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, in this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. And whatever advancement one makes delivers one from the most dangerous kind of fear, death. So it's a thing you relish and you want to continue to do, and you continue to do, even lifetime after lifetime. When the question was asked that Udava became grass, is it not like a punishment or a degradation? And I was just reflecting on Bhaktivinoda Thakur praying that lifetime after lifetime, I want to be in the company of your devotees, even if I have to be born as a worm in the stool of the devotee. So what will you call that? If being born in Vrindavan and taking the body of a grass, although in the spiritual world, every entity, every species is conscious. Every entity is conscious spiritually. So it is not about bodily designation. Just like he said that in the spiritual world, there is kappa, vriksha, trees, desire fulfilling trees. Whatever you want, they produce it. So, but those are trees. They fulfill all desires, kappa, vriksha, trees. The same thing, everything in the spiritual world has some fulfillment. He said every talk is a song, and when every move is a dance. So spiritual life cannot in any way be referred to or compared to material life. That's how Prabhupada opened the purport. That transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. That's what Rupa Goswami said about the Bhakti Lata beach. It grows and grows and grows and grows. It penetrates all the planetary system. And then finally, it batches at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because that is what ultimately it is designated for. That is what it is meant for. So we can see many examples in the scripture of people who did this and they continued. Not one, not two. And even Mahaprabhu, he said, Mama Jamani Jamani Swari, Bhavatat Bhakti Haitukitwai. Inandana Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitama Visame Babambudo, Kitpaya Tava Padapanka Jasita Duli Sadis Avichintaya. I'm an eternal servant. Yes, somehow that have fallen into this one. Please pick me up. Place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. So that this service relationship can continue. And we are very fortunate that we have been introduced into this by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, whose costless mercy made this available for us in every part of the world. system is also very simple and sublime. But Mahaprabhu said, unfortunate as I am, I'm not attracted. That is because of the level of influence we have encountered in many lives with material nature. And so when Lord Kapila was teaching his mother, he was telling her the glories of devotional service, which is the only way, the only thing that can free one from material influence, devotional service. And we have it on platter of gold. So why or what should now become the impediment for us to savour it, to participate in it? You know, in Latin, it says miserere tui. We'll be the one to blame. We'll blame ourselves. Like Srila Krishnappa said, it will be the greatest tragedy that you have the weapon to win a war and you fail to use it. Material life is a war front. Taking to devotional service, declaring war on Maya. But then all the asanas required, the Krishna has provided for us. And so we should use it. So this text, you can see, reflects also the second statement Krishna made in that Chatusloki of Bhagavad Gita. Machita, Madgata, Pranam, Bhadayanta, Parasparam, Katayantas Chamam Nitya, Tusyanticha, Ramanticha. They derive great bliss and satisfaction by always conversing about me and encouraging each other. So Uddhava and Vidura, they met. They didn't have to start talking about mundane things. And even the exchange was not to just to hear Krishna. Uddhava lost inner consciousness. Our reflection should be, when will that day be mine? When will that day be mine? Then for every contact we have to remember Krishna, whether it is chanting, whether it's been hearing, whether it is worshiping, whatever it is that is in connection with Krishna. Once we are privy to experience this, every external thing becomes irrelevant. Just like one of our acharyas said that on remembering Krishna, the thought of sex, it becomes distasteful. It is tongue coiled in distaste just by remembrance of Krishna. So it's a height to achieve, it's a height to aspire for. As like Krishna mentioned, though it may be a lofty height, Herculean to achieve, but we should aspire for it and not drag it down. So our attitude of devotion should be following the example of these great stalwart devotees, that we can also come to their platform. And so things that are not very necessary, that are inconsequential in course of our material experiences and administrative followership, we should not make them priority. Because if they did, we also know they didn't give that priority. It was all about service, and encouraging each other, becoming absorbed. The thought of my devotee dwell on me. Their life is dedicated to my service. Always thinking of Krishna. Becoming absorbed in Krishna. Because ultimately, it is to go back to Krishna. So Krishna said it in Bhagavad Gita, the same chapter 18, text 60, text 55, 1855. He said, Bhaktiya ma abhijanante. Only by unmotivated and uninterrupted devotion can one understand me as I am. And he says, and when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, in full consciousness, how can you be in full consciousness? If you have distractions, if you have things that preoccupy you than this essential thing. He said, and when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter expressly into the kingdom of God. That is the visa. So my little plea, and also my own resolve and take, is that it will be good if we make this our aim, our goal, and objective. Always remembering Krishna, always thinking of Krishna in all circumstances. Become absorbed in Krishna. And like he says here, and becoming full, in full consciousness of Krishna by such devotion, then it is guaranteed that we'll go back home, back to Godhead. We will enter into Krishna's kingdom. Unless our thoughts are contrary to this, then we can chase shadows. But if our thought is focused on this, yeah, he said, those who are in this part, they are resolute in purpose, their goal is one. But the mind of those who are resolute, there are many branches. Let us try to put ourselves and put our thought, our thinking, our feeling, and our willingness together to increase our absorption in Krishna. And Krishna made it simple. Engage your mind thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer your homage, worship me. Being completely absorbed in me. He has given content. It's not just eulogy or theorem. He gave content. So whatever will make us become devotees, we should chase it. Somebody was asking me a few days ago, we have some kind of understanding. Okay, you do this for the deities on so and so day, I will do so and so day. And then looks like I'm overtaken by not giving space for the devotee to participate. And so he said, Prabhuji, we agreed we should do like this. I told that greed is only encouraged in Krishna's service. To be greedy to serve Krishna. You should be greedy to take every opportunity to become Krishna conscious. And then he requested me, I agree with you, but also let me serve. Give me opportunity too. It should be shared interest, not one-sided. Yes, I know it's good, but since it is that they encourage each other, you should also give me space to serve. So in all of this, we are not reading about movie stars. We are talking about pure devotees of Krishna, eternal associates of Krishna. Uddhava is referred to as the person, the only person who takes on Krishna's dress as Mahaprasad, nobody else. Once Krishna is done with one lining for a day, Uddhava enjoys the prasad. That is the degree of his devotion. Krishna's tadia is always eager. Once Krishna wear any cloth and drop, Uddhava will take it. Nobody contend with you in that. So that should be the kind of zeal we take from his personality. That should be the kind of mood, just like Srivastava was mentioning yesterday. This is what we should borrow from him. Obedience to Krishna's instruction. He wants to go with Krishna. And Krishna said, no, you stay here. And in furtherance to that story, when Krishna left and all the gopis that were taken to Mathura, Vrindavan, were very despondent. They were almost lifeless. There was nothing. Sunyayitam Jagat Savan Govinda Virayena Me. The whole world becomes empty without Krishna. So Parikit, who was the king in Hastinapur, he came to visit the Yagyavalkya, the only surviving grandchild of Krishna, who was king in Mathura. And he saw that the citizens were almost without life. So when they consulted, They were told to go to Sandilia, if I'm not mistaken. He was the chief priest in Nandagan for Nanda Maharaj, that he may be able to give them a leadway, what to do to give life. So when he came, he told them they should not look gloomy like this. You should bath, put on fresh clothes, and create a festive atmosphere where you are always glorifying Krishna. When you do this and you are chanting Krishna's glories, you will evoke Uddhava. This is therapeutic. Uddhava will come and he will speak Bhagavatam to you. And they heed that. They heed it. They obeyed it. They followed it. And even though Uddhava was incognito in Vrindavan, he came out and recited Bhagavatam to them. Yes, it was mentioned also in yesterday's class. Parikshit wanted to stay and participate in that hearing exercise, but he was told, go now, because Kali has manifested in your kingdom. You have to take responsibility and administer properly. When you hear Bhagavatam, your own version of Bhagavatam will be for the whole world. This is just exclusive for the gopis. But then, idea is that the content of devotion adds life to life. It doesn't reduce life. And so when we are not participating sufficiently in devotional content, and we are distracted by so many things, we'll be losing life and we'll be aging. But here it says, Vishwanath Chakrabarti said, Uddhava never aged because of participation in devotional service. The inhabitants of Dwarka never aged because they were always absorbed in Krishna's service, especially just beholding Krishna's darshan daily. It was like an ornament. The demigods and the demons, they enter into truths to source the elixir of immortality. You see how Herculean or tasking that exercise was. But the devotees, they don't have to do that rigorous exercise. Just by engagement in devotional service, we become eternally youthful, invigorated, and energetic. Body may be exhibiting symptoms of age, but the devotional zeal never dwindles. It never deteriorates, and it can take us for lifetime after lifetime. So in all, if Uddhava is a role model to emulate or follow, then we can achieve that by starting from the small things. Somebody said little thing is little thing, but littleness in everything becomes great thing. Little thing is little thing. Chanting may look little. Whatever service you are doing may look little. But when you combine all, it becomes great. That is the benefit of devotional service. So we should always find time to keep ourselves busy. That's why Krishna said, always engage your mind. Vajahure mana, sinandana nandana, abhaya charanara brinda. Fear will be gone. Everything associated with bodily deficiency will be gone if we are absorbed in Krishna. If we are absorbed in Krishna's service. So it's a food for thought, and it's a big lesson to learn. Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane. Therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidu about Krishna, he at once remembered his Lord, at once remembered. So that is what we should do for each other. We should be instruments of remembrance of Krishna. That's why I say devotee is one who when sin, Krishna is remembered. Okay, so we have to build ourselves to that status. that wherever we go, whosoever we meet, once we are seen, people remember Krishna, or at least they mention Krishna. This is the understanding I can share on this. This is a very deep subject matter because it's a very, very advanced devotees. But neophyte as I am, this is the little pieces and bits that I want to take and want to share. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the deliberation, for the wonderful Krishna Katha shared. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to ask, share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute, to speak, or to share. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Madhavan Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for your work. Hare Krishna Prabhu. All grace unto you. Let us speak. Thank you very much. Your lecture is very enlightening and we so much appreciate it so much, Prabhu. Just what I want to ask, do you have an idea of what the age of Uddhava was that time? Can you give us the idea of the age?
I like one aspect of yesterday's class where you open up for research. I think research will give us the statistics we need.
Why am I so curious is that, you know, in this material world, even though we are not this body, we are spiritual living entities, but we are in the material body, in the material world. And as such, this situation of old age, all these things is still there. And ordinarily, if somebody is very old, his memory is also start having some memory problems, you know. So that's a bit curious about what the age is actually.
Yeah, your question is nice. I said, I don't have idea of the exact age. Even for Krishna, it's mentioned that Krishna lived for approximately 125 years. And as of that time, he still looked like 25 years old. Okay? So if Uddhava is also associate of Krishna and he outstayed Krishna and Krishna was 125 when he was here, obviously he will be within that range, but I don't have any knowledge of a specific statistics. That's why I'm leaning on that yesterday council. Let us all research in the scripture and we'll get something near it or exact. But then the lesson from here, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti, that it's like you become ageless if you take to devotional service. Because we speak now, Uddhava is still here. So if you want to calculate his age, where will you place it? He's still here. Yeah, he did not leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So instead of worrying about his age, we should worry about his activities. I don't know if that gives insight into the question.
Yes, very much.
Thank you.
I'm very much satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if I may allow to speculate, by using logic, Uddhava was a peer, was within the same age as Krishna. So even though Krishna did not start schooling early enough, Uddhava started school earlier than Krishna. But age-wise, they were all at the same age. And like we read, and even from as early as 5 years old, he was always absorbed in Krishna. So if Uddhava was still there when Krishna was preparing to leave the planet, which was age 125, that means that Uddhava was around that same age also. That's my speculation.
No, it's an input. And what we are reading now is after Krishna has left. So Uddhava must be more than 125 as of that time, when
Yes.
this episode was enacted. And
Yes.
if Uddhava is still here now, you can add up.
Yeah.
You can add
Well,
up. But then
go ahead.
the devotional inclination, the devotional zeal is still top notch, even when you add up all the ages. That's why I added that. Let us be more preoccupied with the devotional zeal, and that will be of great benefit to us. No doubt, it's interesting to work with statistics also.
Well, Prabhu, I have a question. My question is, when we read the scriptures, there are some statements made in the scriptures that are to be taken as a matter of fact, like a verbatim. And there are some statements also that requires a deeper thought about how that is, or how to apply that particular instruction. If I may put this verse we're discussing back on the screen, Srila Prabhupada said something in the purport. This is what we're discussing today, 3.2.23. And Srila Prabhupada said, 3.2.3. Yeah, 3.2.3, sorry. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that, but in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the servant attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. And to me, I'm giving you my opinion, and then you give me your insight or response. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. Like Madhavan Prabhu was saying earlier, we understand we are spirit souls, but we are encased in this material body that undergoes different transformations. And what I used to do 20, 30 years ago, I cannot do them now. Srila Prabhupada, who is like the Paka Paramhamsa, we can all refer to understand what this might mean. Srila Prabhupada said that I used to run here and there, but now I'm an old man. I cannot do that anymore. But the service attitude of Srila Prabhupada keeps increasing. And so when we say that a devotee never ages, he serves, he serves, he serves. And therefore, we have devotees who are very much advanced in age, and we're expecting them to wash pots, to split wood, to do cooking, lift heavy utensils, and to me that will be very senseless and inconsiderate. And so what do we really mean when Srila Prabhupada is saying here, but in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age, whereby our elderly will not be unnecessarily pushed or punished to do services that could be done by younger, active devotees.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. You have a case and you have a point, and it's very valid and relevant. If in succession policy, we have done devotional service, Prabhupada did devotional service, Prabhupada groomed devotees, and if we also have groomed devotees, obviously, there will be certain services that automatically are relinquished to people who are coming behind us. We don't have to still do the same old thing that we are doing. But my take on what you are saying is, I'm looking at it from another perspective. Devotional service is not only physical, but it is even subtle on the platform of thinking, feeling, and willing. Prabhupada was very depreciated in his physical body, but Prabhupada still wanted to go on parikrama to Govardhan. Is that physical or mental? It is his willingness, it is in his thinking, and it is in his feeling, not physical. So devotional service, physically we can do, but on the higher platform is the zeal of the mental state, our thinking, our feeling, and our willingness. That never dwindles. Our physical body may dwindle, but these three never dwindles. You want to do. You are thinking always of Krishna. And that's why I refer to those two texts, 1865 and 934. Krishna enjoined that. Always engage your mind in thinking of me. Did Krishna mention that we should do that when we are young or when we become old? It's always. Age is no barrier. So yes, you have a valid point that we don't expect elderly people, just like the example that was given of Sanatana Goswami. The zeal, the feeling, the thinking, the willingness, was it there to do Govardhan Parikrama? But Mahaprabhu came to his aid and gave him a Govardhan Shila. That when you do this, it will suffice for your willingness to do, for your thinking and your feeling. You'll be satisfied. So that's my take on it.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you, and I'm really appreciative for the answer, because that is my understanding also, because we live in this material world, and where we fail or refuse to apply common sense in our dealings, no matter who we call ourselves, I believe we're going to end ourselves in trouble at some point. Because the statement Srila Prabhupada made, if one just read it casually without trying to read it analytically, we may understand it in a very bad way, because Srila Prabhupada said, like you said, Sri Ganga Prasad Prabhu, the service attitude.
Attitude. That attitude is it.
Yes.
Attitude.
That to me is the key point. So one may not be able to physically do something, but the desire to do it will still be there. And I'm reminded of His Holiness Guru Govinda Maharaj when he visited Ghana. Age-wise, he was not too old, but his physical body was not so strong enough, but he will never give up paying obeisance. So to me, that is the desire. But sometimes as devotees, we misunderstand certain things, and we expect our elderly people to do Herculean things that should be done by younger people, younger devotees. And so I'm really grateful that you shared your understanding and response to my question the way you did, because it's just common sense that if someone is elderly, you do not even want to accept a service from him. But as I'm seeing devotees of today, sometimes we overlook that. We overlook the age impact on certain devotees, and we think that, well, you call yourself a very old devotee, you are a very senior devotee, you are very much absorbed, do it. Well, I think we have His Grace Srimad Varaha Prabhu's hand up. Srimad Varaha Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna. My obeisances,
Hare
Ganga
Krishna.
Prabhu, and to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I'm driving. Well, this last point, in fact, this whole text and the purport, everything, something that I relate with a lot, and I've been rapidly, in deep attention, listening. So, Sayadaw Prabhu, your question is what I would like to comment a little bit about. I don't think it's every time we can do some, analytical whatever to Prabhupada's statement or to scriptural statement. Some of these things, I mean, we always hear that you cannot understand a devotee of the Lord, and we should not see devotee from the material point of view. Old, young, whatever it is. The spirit of the devotee to serve is beyond the physical realm. Sometimes you just can't understand how a devotee can do so much, and at an old age or whatever. So I think that benediction is there as long as one is willing to do. I mean, one cannot be forced. You cannot oblige somebody to do something if he's not willing. But if somebody is willing, why not? So if the person is old and he wants to wash pot or he wants to do something, whatever it is, if he's willing to do it, yeah, that is allowed. It's recommended, because we cannot try to understand how a devotee acts, from the material point of view. We cannot understand a devotee from that level. That's the point. So I have a personal experience of what is being read today. And I think we can see that also from Prabhupada. Many other devotees.
Hare Krishna. Ganga Prasad Prabhu, I think His Grace is done with his comment. Do you have something to say or share?
We're on the same page. We are precisely on the same page.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that input, Prabhu.
Well, Prabhuji, what I would like to say is that, yes, definitely, it's impossible to understand the mind of the spiritual master. Yet, at the same time, there are certain statements made by the acharyas that cannot be taken on face value. And that is where, excuse me to say, the common sense factor also plays a role. For example, in the Bible, Lord Jesus Christ said, "If thine eye disturbeth thee, pluck it out. If thy hand suffereth thee, cut it off." And I don't think anybody does that. It is, as we understand, it is proverbial. And so what I'm trying to say is that Srila Prabhupada is saying in this purport that the desire to serve keeps growing. And even if the elderly devotee wants to engage in some particular service, which the junior devotees know that it is too laborious for such an elderly person to do it, why don't the young devotees do it? That is my point, because what I'm trying to bring about is that if we do not explain things in a way that may be helpful, even though one may be trying to follow the scriptures, but it will go a very wrong way. I do not see how, gurus are different, because nobody would like to see guru doing something, but our fellow devotees, someone who is very advanced in age, wanting to do something very laborious, and there is a younger devotee there. And then you say this person has been a devotee for 40, 50 years. He loves Krishna so much, let him do it. To me, that would be wrong. That is just all I'm saying.
Anyway, thank you for that also. But then, anytime we are dealing with Krishna conscious philosophy, we should not oversight the Achintya Vedabhada aspect of it. Simultaneously, oneness and different.
Yeah.
Like Kavichandra Maharaj, I've been around in Lagos. He comes and he personally goes to where they stock the pots and he washes them. And there are many devotees in the temple who are younger that will do it. But he's doing that to show by example. So if we take from these discussions, we may say, oh, we should not do it. But what he said, whatever a great man does, common man follow. Common man will follow. Yad yad acharati stresta. So they are teaching by example. And if we relieve them, we may be denying them the opportunity of that exemplary teaching. So we cannot batch on one pendulum, one side of the pendulum. We should patronize both. Yes, when they are physically aged and they have grown people who can take over, those ones should do. But if they, like Prabhu said, if they want to do, if you stop them also, they may not be happy. You know, and we should never put devotees in anxiety or distress. Let them enjoy it. So, yes, the two polarities are right. You are right. Nobody's wrong. Okay.
Yeah. If I can come in briefly. Sahadi Prabhu was so eager to speak, so he cut me off. He said,
I'm sorry.
I think your network went down. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
We stopped hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, actually, there's some stories about the Goswamis who, at their old age, were doing impossible kind of tasks, cooking for the deities. There was one of those Goswami, I think Babaji or whatever, very popular in Vrindavan. I think Radhana Maharaj narrated a story in his book, that journey or whatever, and that he will always go and fetch water and do things, like that his body could not, but he would do it because it's sadhana every day, and he was doing it. If anyone of you read that Radhana Maharaj Journey of the Soul or whatever it is called, I've forgotten. So there are many Goswamis whom we have read that at their old age they were doing these things, and they don't really care about their body. Now, one point I want to make is that it will be very, very difficult for deity service, the way we were taught, and the way Prabhupada introduced it to the Western world, to continue. It will be very difficult to continue if we think it's only young people who should do it or whatever. The old people have to continue doing it to show example that this has to be done in whatever condition you are. As soon as we start thinking on the bodily platform, bodily level, eventually many people will give up deity worship. They will think it's difficult. It's not, we cannot do it, So, and it's happening gradually that, people start thinking, we don't have people, we have to hire pujari, we have to, no. The Pujari work or devotional service is not something based on payment. It is based on the enthusiasm and the zeal, the willingness. So I really think that for continuity's sake, what we are reading today, it's very important. Not to think of retiring, not to think of getting tired, and always be willing, to continue the service with zeal. This is very important for continuity. It's very, very important. Otherwise, many will give up devotional service in the practical sense. They will think I'm chanting, but then when it comes to how to continue the tradition and the culture Prabhupada gave us, we will eventually not find many people to do it because young people will even run away from it. But if they see elderly people doing it, so the last point, then they will be encouraged to want to do it also. So this is just my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. It is realistic. If you have been used to dressing deities, I'm put in a situation where single-handedly I have to dress like 4 sets of deities. And once I get into the mood, nothing else matters. I'm happy about it. Age does not take that away from me. And whether somebody is there or not, so it's about, are you relishing some tastes in doing it? That is what will spur you to continue to do. But if we are thinking age, we will start giving an excuse. Just like Prabhu, who came to give us seminar on deity, where he said, become galagriha, a boderation, and want to give it up. But if you're enjoying it, you will not stop. Look at the picture of Gopal Krishna Maharaj that they shared after his demise, that he was sleeping and is offering arti, even in his sleep. So yes, thank you very much, Prabhu. Yeah, let's expand the discussion if there is still.
Hare Krishna. In fact, His Grace Srivas, that's when Acharya is here. Maybe he can chip in. But what I just wanted to say is just to buttress His Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu's statement, Achintya Beda Abheda Tattva. So what we are all saying appears to be polarities, but they are the same because both ought to be present. My reason for saying what I'm saying is that there should be a line drawn between responsibilities and just wanting to serve. If we all are in a temple and we have elderly people in the temple, and we know this elderly devotee has been a devotee for 40, 50 years. He is now 78, he's now 80. And somebody is like maybe a temple commander and sharing responsibilities for devotees. And you share a very laborious responsibility for such an elderly person. I think it's improper. Even though we're hearing what devotees are sharing, the advanced devotees, the desire to doing it is there. But even like His Holiness Kavachandra Maharaj washing pots, how would the devotees feel when they are there and their guru is washing the pots? What does that say of the devotees? In the first place, the pots should not even be dirty for Maharaj to come and wash the pots. And if even they are dirty and Maharaj is washing the pots, one should immediately go and then take the pot washing from Maharaj. And I remember when Kavichandra Maharaj was in Ghana some time ago, and he himself was cleaning the Goshala. What did the devotees do? His Grace Srivas Acharya is here. He remembers, he was there. We all went, took over the cleaning of the cowshed. So that's what I'm saying, that yes, we cannot deprive the devotees from the desire of rendering a particular service. But if the service is too much, for the devotee's physical being. The younger ones, I think, should be intelligent enough to say, oh, okay, maybe you can do this little part. Let us do this greater part. Even with the deity worship, no matter how loving affection you have for rendering the deity worship on the altar, there may come a point in time, if you are still in this body, that you will not be able to do as you were doing, especially if it has to move in the deity from one place to another. I remember when I used to take care of the deities in Peter Nagri. You move the deity from point A to point B. And if you're very aged to a certain point, that you cannot do. Why, even though you have the desire to doing it, why would the younger devotees say that, okay, you want to do it, so go ahead and then do it? That's all I'm saying. I think we have Thakur Murari Prabhu signed up. Please, you may unmute, Thakur.
So Krishna Prabhuji, I was off for a while. There was a break in transmission. So as usual, please accept my own obeisances. I'll go to Srila Prabhupada. So I like the discourse. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those senior persons. I'll be sent to this week. Yes, and I visit a certain place which remain nameless at this time. And I understand the sentiments. For example, let's say the person is old, but the person has a climb a set of stairs, and there's no assistance inside that, electronically. So I understand the sentiment, the desire is there, the willingness is there, but is the body, we are saying that physically, is the person able to do it? And I understand the sentiment. So, there are a number of different points come to view, but time, place, and circumstance and reality, the person I'm serving is the person physically able to do it. The willingness of it be there, but can the person physically do it? So understand the sentiment. Yes. So it's nice discourse. Yeah, we should have more of this. So thanks for the discussion. And thanks for the presenter too. As usual, I have to express my appreciation. I was off away, but I got the gist of what we are trying to say. Time, place, and circumstances, and the ability of the person. Because remember, we're in the material, so the body, getting be some deficient at a point in time. Yes. Thanks again for the discussion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Thakur Murari Prabhu. Srimad Bharata Prabhu, I think you have something to share. Please, you may unmute.
No, I think that was when I raised my hand.
Oh, your previous.
But
But I think Krishna wants you to say something. That's why he kept your hand there.
Sure. Yeah. So, devotional service is not something that can be legalized or something that has to be dished out and ordered. That's on the, what is it called? Neophyte stage, when you are told what to do. But this level of devotional service that is being discussed today in reference to Uddhava, it's not like the type that you are asked to do. It is what you do as in your service to Krishna, your relationship with Krishna. It's a personal thing. It cannot be legalized. It can when devotees are doing service and somebody has to tell them do this, do that. That is just to encourage them to develop the taste. But we're talking about when the taste is already developed. As a devotee, your service to Krishna, it has to be ongoing. There's no retirement. There's no giving it up at any point. And that's the joy of devotional service. They say there's nothing so difficult like something you don't want to do, but something you really love to do, it becomes so easy. So yeah. So we're talking about devotional service. We're not talking about service that you are being made to do because you want to practice and now they are giving you orders. That's elementary neophyte stage. But what we're discussing today, Uddhava, the character we're discussing that led to this discussion, is an advanced devotee, and that is what we want to emulate. Prabhupada said we should emulate that. There's no retirement. You should do it. If you really have developed the taste for doing it, then there's no retirement. I love that. I really like the idea. And I think it is doable. Haribo, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will want to request Srivas Anachari, because he's present, his words of wisdom will act like icing on the cake for this discussion.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
I want to remain a member of the audience. I want to drink the nectar that is flowing from GANGA.
Thank you very much. Is allowed.
Well, Prabhuji, you said you want to remain a member of the audience. It is the audience that are discussing. so we would like to hear you say something in this regard also.
Well, Srila Prabhupada mentions, even in the purport, when you highlighted that that statement, just right after that, Srila Prabhupada says there is no retirement in devotional service. If you put that purport on the screen, you will see just right after the statement that you highlighted, Srila Prabhupada mentions that there is no retirement. Yeah, in the transcendental service, no cessation, and therefore there is no retirement. Very beautifully put by His divine grace. There is no retirement.
No satiation.
No cessation and no retirement. So these are very important statements or words describing the wonderful nature of bhakti. There's no cessation. There is always room for relishing devotional service. Actually, the thing I've read somewhere, it says that for a neophyte devotee, he needs guidance. For a Madhyama devotee, he needs space to develop Krishna consciousness. And for an advanced devotee, he simply relishes Krishna consciousness in an unlimited way. So that is there is no satiation. The neophyte is taking instructions from the seniors, is getting guidance from the seniors in order to make advancement. The Madhyama wants space. He needs space to develop his Krishna consciousness, to relish Krishna consciousness. And the advanced devotee, he is actually diving in and out of Krishna consciousness. There is no end to it. So at any one time, the advanced devotee wants to remain engaged in Krishna's service. But there's the junior devotees should want to assess. They should want to help, to render some service, because that service will elicit guidance from the advanced devotees. When there is a service attitude, when the neophytes are in a mood of service, they will attract, they will elicit mercy, guidance from the senior devotees. And that will go a long way to help them make progress in Krishna consciousness. So, yes, the advanced devotee never wants to stop rendering service, even to the last moment of his life. He wants to continue to render service because he is relishing that service. But the younger devotees, they should also be in a mood of service. They should want to serve this senior elderly devotees, because by that service, they endear themselves to these elderly devotees. And these elderly devotees will show them mercy by revealing the secret of advancement on the path. So both is there. The elderly, they don't want to give up service. They want to remain in service, active service to the end. But the junior ones must also make sure that they help, assist, and complement the elderly ones in such a way that the elderly ones will show mercy to them. That is my little take in the discussion.
That is the icing on the cake. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you so much. Your simply little is very vast and huge. So we thank you so much for sharing. I don't know, Shimara Prabhu, you have something to share before we go to Ganga Prasad to end the class? Shimara Prabhu, you have your hand up?
From old, I think.
I think from previous, okay. Madhavan Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Today's topic seems to be very interesting. If we look at it from the African point of view also, because Anusa Dev is an African and he has that nature. That's why I think he's so much concerned. When you see an elderly being performing in service, then the younger one should quickly, take up the service also. And the elderly one is just giving an example for others to show. Then you also mentioned, Prabhu Bara also cautioned us, or cautioned you that we cannot all the time analyze the statement of the great Acharya. And you mentioned an instance when Jesus said that even if your eyes will stop you from going to the kingdom of God, you should pluck it out. I think there's a story in the Vedas of one devotee that plucked out his eyes because he was fond of. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we cannot analyze the statement of the Acharya. Not all the time we can understand, but they know. Since we are not, that's just my little contribution. Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Shri Ganga Prasad Prabhu, please. The ball is in your court.
Yeah, I think we've done due diligence to this discussion, and you spiced it up, and every input became like churning the nectar. So I'm grateful for all the inputs, and I'm also grateful to those who offered me the opportunity to be here. I'm eternally indebted to you all. And if you want to round up in the absence of any more question or comment, you can go ahead and do that. Thank you very much.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Like you beautifully concluded, it's been very interesting. I think Srila Prabhupada expected us to study his books in this manner from different angles. Srila Prabhupada did not just want us to read, he wanted us to study, which is a big difference. Reading and studying is a big difference. So That is what we're trying to do. And I think it's been so beautiful and wonderful. And with that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to His Grace Ganga Prabhu for giving us such nectarian Krishna Katha. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Radha Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu ki jai. Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Rama.